Hello and welcome to Wender Town and our preview ahead of Luton Town v West Brom tomorrow at Kenilworth Road. League action returns to Kenilworth Road, 3 p.m. on a Saturday for the first time in 2 months?
Hallelujah.
It's been a while, isn't it? It's been a while for
mate.
a 3 p.m. Kickoff on a Saturday. I'm Luke Gregory, joined by only Batara tonight. Dave can't be with us, but West Brom tomorrow, they're obviously on a massive good run of form. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really tricky game compared to maybe what it would have been a couple of months ago.
Yeah, no, of course, but we're Luton Town. We can beat anyone on our day, so let's keep that positive mindset and go with it. But no, you're right. They are, I think, probably the best form in the league at the moment, aren't they?
It's a tough fixture for them as well. And look, we didn't have the best of results against Wigan last week, although we didn't lose. It was the FA Cup, but hopefully now we can just kick on again with that league form and get another win under our belts.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's not be too greedy. We've had a lot of wins recently, but yeah, no, look, we've got to sort of maintain it as such. But what I was going to say was our form isn't really too bad. If you look at it, I think one of the least amount of losses in the division. So
yeah. Third, I think.
Yeah, I think it was at 6 defeats out of 20-odd games, which is very, very good. And look, the fact that we haven't lost that many gives me hope that we can get like at least something out of the game. So, yeah.
What do you think's changed with West Brom since getting rid of Steve Bruce, which happened, by the way, after our game with them back at the Hawthorns?
What's changed? Just Steve Bruce isn't there, innit? I mean, they've actually playing some football now. But, I mean, we know they've got a talent. Look at their squad. It's great. They've got a lot of talent in there. We all know this. But, look, what's changed? I don't know. They're all just maybe playing to their strengths a little bit, whereas Steve Bruce, I'm not going to sit here and slate him, but, you know, he's had a bit of not a great time at his previous few clubs or whatever. So, yeah.
Do you think West Brom now are set for the playoffs?
No one's set for the playoffs. It's too early in the season to, I think, we're halfway through it now. Mm-hmm. So, no one's set for it. And I'd like to think that we can push on as well and we challenge like West Brom and whoever else. But look, they've got a similar squad from last season, same as us. We finished 6th. Why can't we finish above them again?
Well, let's see what West Brom fan thinks. Lewis is joining us from the Baggies podcast tonight. Lewis, how are you, mate? You okay?
I'm not too bad, guys. How are you both?
Yeah, I think we're both excited that we've finally got a 3 p.m. game tomorrow, because the last time we had a 3 p.m. game was literally before the World Cup on a Saturday. So, yeah, we're kind of looking forward, just getting back to normal kickoff times, which I'm sure you're fully used to being a West Brom fan. Seem to be on Sky like every Friday or Monday, it seems.
We're enjoying these sort of normal kickoff times. I think maybe the attention might be back on us after our sort of recent form, but last season we were on it virtually every other week, which I think was a nightmare considering we were losing virtually every other week to boot. So
you say, since you've been on this good form, West Brom have been on a bit of a run, and we were just discussing before you come on that it's really impressive just seeing you literally like a month or so ago near that bottom 3 or in that bottom 3 to now it looks like you're going to be certain for the playoffs. What's changed since Steve Bruce has left?
I was going to say Steve Bruce left, didn't he? That's the only change, surely.
That's probably the headline. I think, Steve Bruce has gone, and I think that we brought in a real good coach and a tactician, I think, of a manager in Carlos Corberán. Neither of those things I don't think Bruce was particularly good at in terms of tactics. Game management was a big thing under Bruce. He'd kind of play the same way all the way through the game, and if something happened in the middle, an opposition goal, for example, opposition change of shape, there wouldn't be any reaction to it. Whereas with Corberán, I think he's planned for a lot of eventualities in terms of opposition changing shape. And I think that's really a massive part of the Championship, because, goals can be scored against the run of play, just like that. That's the nature of the Championship. That's the nature of the division. And I think having a manager that kind of gets that that's going to happen and has other plans in terms of, not just having that plan A, having plan B, C, D, whatever, I think that makes a lot of difference. And the players look more confident than they did under Bruce. I think the early season form that we had under Bruce was actually quite good, but not in terms of results. I think performances were quite good, but we just weren't hitting the back of the net. We weren't getting those results. And I think that kind of drew a bit of confidence out of the players, because they were playing very well. They just weren't getting the results out of it. And you could sort of see the confidence starting to dwindle, them starting to lose faith in Bruce, starting to lose faith in the coaching staff. And I think Corberán's kind of come in and although the first sort of couple of wins were very ugly, I think against Blackpool, and QPR, they were very ugly wins, 2-1 nils, both goals from set pieces. I think just by doing that and showing them kind of a way to win has kind of developed them a bit more in terms of confidence. But yeah, we've gone from strength to strength since those games, and we've actually started playing some nice football, which is refreshing. Yeah. But yeah, I think ultimately Bruce leaving has done us big favours, but bringing in a coach of good quality by the looks of things so far, it seems to have done us wonders.
Like you say, it's refreshing for you. Obviously, as West Brom fans, it's kind of a little bit nervy for us because obviously we're coming up against the form team, one of the form teams in the Championship right now. But obviously, going back to your initial reaction to when obviously Corberan came in, were you excited? I can imagine you were. Obviously, what he did with Huddersfield and the kind of the style he plays, and obviously coming from where he came from, compared to obviously when Steve Bruce came in, I can imagine it was very different. Yeah.
I think we were kind of looking for a change in direction because we've been for that kind of tried and trusted method of managers before. We can reel off the lists of Pardew, Pulis, Bruce, Allardyce. We've had the lot. I think we're a little bit tired of seeing that kind of safety button pressed, and quite often, other than Pulis, I think all of those were failures. So I think it's about time that we kind of shifted the dynamic in terms of employing and recruiting our new manager into somebody younger. You can see the success that teams have had with employing a good coach rather than a good sort of man manager, which is what Bruce kind of fit into. But I think excitement was the main emotion, to be honest. Having a different sort of change in approach to employing the manager kind of told me that maybe the club might have learned from those previous mistakes of employing those managers and turn to something new, which clearly so far it seems to have worked. And even if we don't keep this brilliant run, you've still shown a lot of that, the good coaching that we've kind of been really wanting since Bruce left, really.
And I assume the atmosphere just around the stadium at home games has improved drastically, because I wasn't at the away game Luton at West Brom. I know Dave was, who's not with us tonight.
You heard the chanting now, didn't you?
I remember I was driving back from Ascot at the time, and they did like a little 5 Live thing from the Hawthorns, and they were going, "It's got toxic in here," and apparently it was toxic way before the full-time whistle even gone. So
I think they were chanting Bruce out, weren't they? After about 40 minutes or something like that. It was a bit like, am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you are correct in saying that. I think you could say the same for the sort of 3 games before that as well, to be fair. But yeah, the Luton game, in fairness, that's probably one of his best performance out of the last 5 games. I think that's probably the best performance. I think he changed shape in that game.
When you say best performances, sorry to jump in there. When you say best performance, was that defensively or was that like all round? Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't really do much against us. I'm not digging or anything.
No.
Obviously you were fairly organised.
Yeah,
I remember being very organised.
That was the difference, I think. Really, right, yeah. We'd been conceding. I think over the sort of 4 or 5 matches before that, I think we conceded first in all of them. So I think not conceding first was firstly a big plus. But yeah, coming from very, very low expectations, I think it was the best performance out of those sort of final days of Bruce's reign. But yeah, the atmosphere was toxic, and I think we've had 2 back-to-back sellouts at the Hawthorns. The first time that's happened since the promotion season under Slaven Bilic. So yeah, you can see the numbers starting to come back. Corberan's second home game in charge, Blackpool. I know it was a midweek game, an evening game as well, so that does make things more difficult for supporters to kind of come down. But there were so many patches of empty seats around the ground, and yeah, coming into those last couple of home games, Reading and I can't remember who the other one was against. But yeah, the ground's been sold out, which makes a massive difference. I think, we've got some, I'm sure you'll have heard about the problems with the ownership behind the scenes. That's kind of, in a weird way, it's kind of united the fans. And I think, there's been protests, there's been, little Action for Albion messages and stuff going out, over social media, encouraging people to come to the games and get together. So yeah, that's kind of helped in the same way. But there's nothing like winning games in any division that you're in to encourage fans to come to the ground. And when you're playing some nice football at the same time, it really does make for a nice watch and a better way to spend your Saturday than watching Steve Bruce's Albion.
And I mean, to be fair, we've been to West Brom before, obviously, when there has been like a crowd there and whatever else, and the atmosphere is pretty good, to be fair. If we're honest about it, but it's like you say, it got very toxic very quick. We've obviously not to say quick. I think there was a lot of patience with that as well with Bruce, but To be fair, like I'll be honest, I've watched you a few times. If you're on the red button and Luton aren't playing, I always watch West Brom, and this is the truth, right? And obviously, you know, Greg, you know that I like a corner bet, and you're always good for a corner. That's why. I love betting on West Brom, and they always return money for me. So thank you, West Brom, for that. But have as many corners as you want on Saturday. Not interested. Like, just give us the 3 points.
Just on that, then. So. Am I right in saying, so West Brom, if you take out the Chesterfield game of the weekend, it was 8 wins and 9? Is that right?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
That's just unreal. That's like title form, isn't it?
Team. Must be the form team in the Championship, surely then.
Yeah, I think it's us and Middlesbrough who were into, I think, last 5 games. We both won the last 5. So, yeah, well, apart from the FA Cup game, I think before that in the league, we both won the last 5. So, yeah, both are form teams.
Has to come to an end at some point, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
So that's why I think it's going to be such a good game at Kenneth Road tomorrow. Obviously, Luton, 3 wins in a row, 3 very tough fixtures away as well. You look at us beating Norwich and QPR, and then Huddersfield away, always a tough game. But yeah, West Brom, 8 wins in 9. It's unreal form. So I think tomorrow is going to be a really good game. Who would you say we're going to have to look out for to try and stop tomorrow? If we're going to get the win, what's got to go right for Luton tomorrow? Who we got to stop?
I think someone that's really impressed me is Brandon Thomas Asante of late. I mean, he scored twice in the Chesterfield game. Arguably, probably should have been sent off actually just before the second goal. I don't know if you saw that on Match of the Day or the highlights, or whatever it was on BBC. But they kind of highlighted that. And on first viewing, I said, he probably should have gone. On second viewing, I said, I don't know how he's still on the pitch. So but he's been in fantastic form. He's a bit of a wild card, and I think this is probably something I could credit for Bruce for. Is the transfer window, the summer window that we had, bringing in the likes of Wallace, Swift, Yokuzlu, and Thomas Asante. The reason he signed Thomas Asante is because his son-in-law is Matt Smith, who used to play for Millwall, who plays at Salford City, and Matt Smith recommended Brandon Thomas Asante to Steve Bruce, and that's how he ended up signing. So he's a bit of a wild card. I think I think it was about £200,000 the fee that we paid for him, but. Yeah, he's really proven his worth at Championship level. He's a real unit. I mean, he's quite short, quite stocky. Yeah. I mean, he's really got the hunger and the desire that I think that we didn't see from any of the forward line last season or earlier in Bruce's reign. And I think coming into a Championship side 2 levels above anything that he's previously played in before, it's a massive step up. And I think he's scored 6 goals for us now since signing. So I've been really pleased with him. So he's definitely a player to watch out for, because I think something I maybe thought he didn't have was kind of that natural finishing ability. But after seeing his 2 goals at the weekend against Chesterfield, I think, both of those goals, the first was a really nice volley into the roof of the net. The second was a header where he managed to beat the offside trap. So I was quite surprised that he was finishing off those 2 opportunities that he got. Those were the 2 only opportunities he got in the game as well. So yeah, I'd say he's definitely the danger man, and of course after the weekend he's probably the man on form as well to watch out for.
It's gonna be a good game. I'm looking forward to it.
Just a quick question. Obviously, on that weekend in the FA Cup, did you go full strength?
No, we made 11 changes to the side that played Reading. It was basically, I think
explains
it was only 4 of those players that started the game against Chesterfield had started a game under Corbrand so far. So a lot of those hadn't got minutes since well before the World Cup, so a lot of them weren't particularly sharp. And in fairness, they're the same sort of group of players that played on Saturday that kind of let us down under Bruce and Ishmael last season. So yeah, I think that was quite telling. So yeah, Chesterfield ran rings around us, to be quite honest.
It explains a lot then, because
that does explain a lot.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, they could score 3 goals. I thought, please say it was like full strength. So I mean, there's always hope. There's hope there, isn't there? But no, fair play. But no. Like I said, it's West Brom. They're up there. They're firing now on all cylinders, and it's a bit, But obviously, we're not nervous.
Well, it should be. We sold out today, so it's a full stadium. Yeah, it's only 10k, but look, Kenilworth Road's always rocking under when it's full, and it's going to be a good game with both teams on form, and Colton Morris, one of the form strikers in the league. So, yeah, I guess before we let you go, mate, final question is: what is going to happen tomorrow? What's the score going to be?
I think it will be 1-0 Albion. We seem to specialise against sides that come and are very, very organised like yourselves. And yeah, we seem to be able to grind out a 1-0 win. So I'm hoping that'll be the same. But Chesterfield, even though it wasn't a full strength side, even though there are a few players who are kind of on the the cusp of being in the starting 11. It did concern me a little bit. So that's kind of why I'm a bit sceptical to give a prediction involving a clean sheet for Albion after the weekend. But I'll go 1-0, and I think Thomas Asante will score again. I think you guys are quite strong from set pieces defensively, aren't you? So I can't see us.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. I can't see us scoring from one of those. So I'll say Thomas Asante will score. Probably a ridiculous effort that he shouldn't even be attempting, like he did against Stoke and like he did against Bristol City. But yeah, I'll go with a 1-0 Albion win, I think.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
So Lewis is going for a 1-0 Albion win tomorrow, Bataro. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, fair play, because any other team, I say, no chance. But
their form is very impressive. That's one thing. Whilst Lewis was chatting, I was looking through their previous results, and it's like you said, they ground out results away at QPR at home to Blackpool, and it looks like they've really just picked up, and like you said, the form team up there with Borough in the league, and yeah, we've won 3 in a row, but it's going to be, I'm really fascinated by this game tomorrow. I'm just really excited. I think it's going to be a brilliant encounter. It's going to be very loud. Away fans going to be packed out. It's going to be a brilliant advert for Championship football.
I mean, let's hope it's going to be a great game of football as well, like you say, but I'll be honest, this is the one game, I don't usually get nervous about football, but I am pretty nervous about this fixture, I'll be honest, because like I keep saying, I've watched them a lot.
Yeah.
And
what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
What do I think?
I'd like to think that we can have a...
To be fair, do you know what, right? I'm going to put it out there. I'll be happy as long as we don't lose.
Yeah?
If I'm
Take
honest,
a draw?
yeah. I'd take a draw. I probably would take a draw. I mean, it depends obviously how we play on the day. If we play, obviously they have 1 or 2 shots and score 1 goal, we end up losing 1-0 or whatever, or even draw, and we've had like 7 or 8 shots and dominate the game. I won't be mad, but I'd be pretty like, we could have done more there, we could have done this. But no, look, just don't lose. And as long as we, I wouldn't say cope, because I think that sounds a bit disrespectful to us, because we can do more than just cope, but I think as long as we sort of like play naturally and,
create maybe a few big chances and just have a few opportunities to go. Because last week in the FA Cup against Wigan, we didn't really get, apart from Cornick's goal, we didn't really get a big chance in that second half. We didn't quite create anything. But
to be fair, I think it's going to be a completely different game, because I think obviously you've got to, obviously, there's no obviously disrespect to Wigan, but they're going to be going obviously to us like they did in the FA Cup, and then go, all right, fair enough, Luton putting us under a bit of pressure right now. We'll sort of soak it up a little bit. Whereas West Brom, I think, would take more risks, if that makes sense, rather than Wigan. I think Wigan don't take as many risks. But look, I mean, whatever happens. Just please don't lose. That's what I say. But yeah.
Fingers crossed for a good game tomorrow. Let us know what you think the score's going to be below. And if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you give us a subscribe, like, share with all your friends, and get us on socials over the town. Come on Luton tomorrow. Enjoy it if you're going, and we'll see you next week.